Well, if I would be correct to say, Brother Jay, everybody always talking about them young people out of control. That look like some young people to me on that CD cover. Look like some young men.
Yeah.
Look like some very young men on that CD cover saying, my everything, along with Miss Lisa Knowles. Yes, indeed. So according to the book says, train up a child in the way they should go. When they get old, they won't depart. And as you often hear me represent and state, that it does not mean that they won't depart from the church, that they would stop going. That don't mean that they won't stop. That's been going on since the Bible, Brother J. Since the beginning of time, they stopped doing that. We act like that's something brand new because nobody don't want to show up. Come on now. Got to give them something to show up to. Hello, somebody, besides just fussing. Hey, we got to edit the program. Let them know something. Guess what we need to let them know, Brother J. Y'all get ready for the open line where you got to have an open mind. And the views and opinions expressed just now by Cowboy Preacher don't have to reflect on no other preacher. As Bobby Brown would say, let that be your prerogative. We gonna be born blessed. Here we go.
Is there anybody born blessed? Blessed coming in and blessed going out. Come on, let's have a good touch up.
Y'all, Sister Khadijah in here dancing all over the studio.
Yes. Morgan Freeman called me that. Morgan Freeman said that. Sister
Oh, this is a light chair. This chair ain't gonna be good for them people that's coming in.
Wind came through and it broke the help. Drop the violence, help me still.
Well, I can't get in here.
You can't get in.
I'm telling you. I said, watch
That's a lawsuit, man. That's a lawsuit.
Some big bones coming in.
I need to go in the dumpster. Right? All right.
The Open Line Radio Show is supported in part by Finders Keepers, the place with your residential hardware needs, small engines, outdoor power equipment, bathroom accessories, electronics, lighting, plumbing, and everything in between. Located in the Southern Development Office Building, at 1006 Surrey Street, Lafayette. Telephone 337-780-8149. That's Finders Keepers.
Hi fans, this is your favorite actor. When I am in the Lafayette area, I listen to the Open Line Radio Show with Sister Kadisha and Brother Jay. Heard exclusively on KIEE 88.3, your superstation
We want to
for
remind you
South
that the Open
Louisiana.
Line Radio Show is powered by Finders Keepers, 1006 Surrey Street, Lafayette. You are listening to the Open Line Radio Show heard exclusively on KIEE 88.3, your superstation for South Louisiana.
We are interactive and live. Call us at area code 337-534-0036. That's 337-534-0036. On the Open Line Radio Show on KIEE 88.3 FM, your superstation for South Louisiana.
You are now tuned into my man, Brother Jay, and our conscious sister, bringing the people the knowledge on the Open Line Radio Show on 88.3 FM, your superstation for South Louisiana.
You are rolling with the Open Line Radio Show, heard exclusively on KIEE 88.3 FM, your superstation for South Louisiana.
KIEE, the Louisiana Superstation, presents the community's #1 radio talk show, The Open Line, if you have an open mind.
Greetings, brothers and sisters. Welcome to the Open Line. I'm Brother Jay. I'll be here with my co-host, Sister Khadijah. Stay tuned and relax for the Open Line on KIEE 88.3, your superstation.
Welcome to the Open Line on KIEE 88.3, your superstation. The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers and are not necessarily those of KIEE 88.3 staff or management. Thanks for listening.
What a lovely, precious dream.
I'm New Iberia City Councilman and local business owner, Marlo Lewis. Parents, it all starts at home. Enough is enough.
I'm Lieutenant Cassie Duyon with the New Iberia Police Department. It takes a village, and it's time our community comes together.
I'm here to lend my voice to the community program to stop the gun violence.
No more silence, stop gun violence.
No more silence. Stop gun violence.
No more silence. Stop gun violence.
Hotep, Habarigani, or Assalamu alaikum, morning for another powerful edition of the Open Line with myself, Sister Khadijah, Brother Jay, Attorney Dwa, and our listening audience. Remember, this month and every month for the rest of your life will be Women's Day. There are 7 things you need to know about getting a mammogram, and I'm going to review that later on during the show, but it's very important that we have our mammogram, which is once a year. They have things that you need to know about getting a mammogram, and not only that, but colonoscopy. Our men, y'all over the age of 40, y'all need to get in touch with your primary care doctor or a doctor in general and request a colonoscopy. It is not a bad procedure. It's mostly a life procedure that helps men and women out. So consider getting a colonoscopy. It's paid for by majority of insurance, and you don't feel anything. You go in, they give you the shot and everything, but it's essential because so many of our young people are having colon cancer, and it's because they never were detected or ever had a colonoscopy. And I say that all the time. Get your colonoscopy. Get your mammogram. Brother G.
Good morning to the South Louisiana listening audience. Welcome to another edition of the Open Line Radio Show on KIEE 88.3 FM, your superstation for South Louisiana. I want to thank the staff and management. Charlie, we just saw him in the building today, and Mr. John Freeman for help in incubating these shows that we do on KIEE. I just played a clip from the city of New Iberia, which adopted a stop the violence, gun violence thing, which is a good thing.
Yes, it's
really
better
to
good.
do something than nothing. And
Yes,
we've
it's
said that
good.
in the past that governmental officials cannot fix the problem by
themselves.
By themselves, or even law enforcement cannot fix the problem. It's a cultural thing. Awareness, bringing awareness to gun violence. We just had Mr. Hogan, the Hogan family, two of the Hogan members of the Hogan, Apostle Hogan, and the young man who was part of that that PSA. So I want to thank those who instituted this Stop the Violence, Gun Violence initiative in the city of New Iberia. We need that. That's a start. That's not a fix-all, but that's a start. Acknowledgement, because you know what they say, out of sight, out of mind. Well, acknowledgement by public officials that we have a severe problem is a great thing. I want to say that.
All right. Yes, indeed. And
we're going to be waiting on Attorney Dwyer. I'll be getting on the line in a few. But Sister Khadija,
Okay.
you have the paper and something we said on this show to prove. I don't have to go pull out that clip from a year and a half ago when I railed against the DMV. And maybe it sounds a little bit more like my personal issues with the DMV. But now, the same things, the concern that we talked about, the DMV, the people that run the Louisiana Department of Motor Vehicles, they are before the Louisiana legislative giving testimony because of all the complaints, everything we talked about. And it's amazing that a lot of the stuff we talk about on this show gets played out at a later date and when we were telling people about it.
yes,
Sister Khadija.
yes, that is absolutely correct. And well, one of the recurring complaints is visitors to local motor vehicle offices show up and are surprised to learn they need an appointment to receive service. I'm just getting torn up with phone calls and complaint. Furman said, the Office of Motor Vehicle has an annual budget of $65 million. It has 560 employees and 60 vacancies. Well, I'm not surprised that their annual budget is $65 million. You go over there to take care maybe a day lapse of insurance, and them rascals want to charge you a whole $200, $300, $400.
Well, you're paying a car note on something that's supposed to be helping you get to from work. So it's like everything the state of Louisiana does. And that's when I say Louisiana needs to fix this problem, why they won't be last and a lot of stuff. Think about this. If you have some arrears against you and you lose your professional license or license to drive, you cannot go to work and pay that. The same issue, you're going to see legislative testimony when you're dealing with the issues with taxes, the state tax. They want to take people's licenses because they can't pay state tax. So when a person can't go to work to pay that arrears off, and then you go down the street illegally without any license, then you get fined again. And then therefore you're back at the DMV. The state of Louisiana has a lot of fixing to do. Why we consistently last. The other article, Louisiana has the highest rates when it comes to electricity in the top 10. Oil, an energy producing state, 7th in the nation in consumption of energy, and first in the higher bills. I think we have that article from the Advocate. All these stories that we're talking about, we can make reference to mainstream media, go in the Advocate, and you can read more about it.
Yes, we sure can. And what they're saying is that the residents of Louisiana Parish, located in the heart of a cluster of polluting petrochemical factories, filed a federal lawsuit Tuesday, raising allegation of civil rights, environmental justice, and religious liberty violations.
That's our sister Sharon Levine, along with the other guy, Mr. Taylor. Well, Rise St. James is Miss Sharon Levine's group, and the other group, Concerned Citizens of St. John, is Mr. Brother Taylor group. So we want to salute Sharon. She got numerous awards from International for Environmental Justice, and we want to appreciate that, sister. She's been on your show on AOC. She's been on our radio show before, so we salute those fighters. Everything we talk about on this show is being played out in the news, so I just want the people to know that. Go ahead if you want to fact check us on some of the things we talk about.
Yeah, right, and again, Louisiana ranks top 10 of the most expensive state for electricity. Most expensive state for electricity. And according to only.com, Louisiana saw an average increase of $22 a month in electricity bill. $22 a month. That's an increase of 17.11%, which is it's hard when you're living on a fixed income, which is really hard when you're living on a fixed income. Brother Jay? Okay, well, yes. Caller, you have a question or comment? You're on. Caller, you're on. All right. I'm not hearing him. Is something wrong with the phone lines?
Not that I know of.
Okay. Well, try calling back again. All right. Evidently, we are getting ready to get Attorney Duarte on the phone. The telephone number to call is 337-534-0036 or 337-534-0042. And we're waiting for Attorney Duarte. She'll be calling in. And Brother Jay, what? Oh, well, we got a caller. Caller, you're on. You have a question or comment? You're on.
I have a comment. So St. James is suing also the parish council. I think that Iberia Parish citizens should understand how significant that is, that the citizens that are being oppressed by the parish council are suing the parish council. It's such a wonderful thing that the people are pushing back on the people that are supposed to represent them and are absolutely oppressing them. Iberia Parish is being polluted. We are treated horribly. We are not represented, and the people are rising up, and they're suing the people that are responsible for the terrible treatment of the citizens. It's time that the citizens of Iberia Parish put some people in office that will represent them correctly.
Yes.
That's my comment. Thanks.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. And you heard and everything, so we really always got work to do. Attorney Duarte, you're on.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm hearing you. All right. Good. Say something again.
Good morning, Attorney Smith.
Good morning, y'all. How are
Okay,
y'all?
we got you.
Okay, we got you. We need to have a beautiful picture of you just to hold up.
Yeah, we can start putting it on the phone next to a big old plate of crawfish.
Okay.
I'm jealous.
All right. So you heard about a couple of the lawsuits that's going on and everything, and our favorite topic is really community issues such as child support.
That's not mine.
Okay, all right.
That's not
all right.
mine, but we agree that you could talk about it all the time, and we got a very learned attorney. But the attorney, before you go, today is a Wednesday, right? We used to say happy Impeachment Day. Then we went on to happy what it was, happy Insurrection Day, right? That's on a Wednesday. Now today it might be Happy Indictment Day. You have any legal thoughts on whether or not the former President Trump will be indicted?
I'm still waiting on the grand jury to see what they say regarding it, and then once they come out with their indictment or not an indictment, we can discuss it further.
Yes, and also one of the things is that there are two in two separate jurisdictions. Atlanta. Okay, we got to drop out.
Yeah, he said that we were.
Okay, really? Yeah. Well, I'm not playing. It's not playing.
It could be playing on here.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Just you don't have me up. Okay. Have me up on auxiliary. Yeah. Now she got me up. You got me up on the auxiliary. Okay. One of the two jurisdiction things that's going on is that it's two black prosecutors, one in New York City and one in Fulton County, which is the Atlanta area, and we see a backlash against them as people, who are taking the side of the former president, saying some very racist things on social media by the two black prosecutors, and in general about all black government officials right now. So I just want to throw in those thoughts. I know you're part of the court system. You don't really have a commentary, but as a black professional attorney, I think that we should all be concerned about those threats being thrown out to black governmental officials.
I mean, I agree. And I'm looking up some of the news reports. What specifically are they saying?
Concerning the former president, that because they used campaign funds to supposedly, according to the witness against him, his former fixer Cohen, that he used campaign. They technically used campaign fund, even though Cohen was reimbursed by the president to pay off a adult film star who had some connection to some people in Louisiana, Stormy Daniels, and that's the crux of that matter. And the other issue is his influence on trying to nullify the election in the state of Georgia, trying to get people to change, do some illegal stuff as it pertains to voting in Georgia. So but in both of those situations, again, you have two black attorneys, prosecutors, who are being threatened all over the country concerning their moves to indict, to may or may not indict this person.
All right,
Attorney Duan. Well, can you hear me?
Ridiculous. Yeah, I'm looking at the articles now.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. I can hear you.
Yes, I was trying to say, well, what is wrong? What is wrong with him paying her $150,000 for one night of fantasy? At least he paid her. So
okay.
What?
The problem is there are rules regarding campaign funds that you can't do certain things. That's one of the things that you can't do. That's the problem.
Okay, because it wasn't his
right.
His
he
money.
Pay out his pocket, but with campaign funds, there's rules telling you what you can do with that.
Yeah, and that's funds, and they put it in the column when they fill out their paperwork under campaign. And at the end of the day, prostitution's supposed to be illegal, right?
Well, I don't see no men going to jail for it.
Well, that's the whole purpose. We want to see if he going to be what do you call perp walking in the orange jumpsuit.
Right.
Okay.
But I mean, when you just think of the whole totality of it, $150,000 for less than a couple of hours. I mean, the best surgeon can't even get that type of price.
So you say it's okay?
That's what I'm saying.
I'm just trying to get your okay on things.
Okay, all right. Well, the attorney, do I say it's illegal because he didn't pay with his money, even though it came from his campaign fund. It wasn't his money to give. It was for the campaign campaign funds.
Maybe we should decriminalize prostitution then. That's a controversial story, attorney, right?
Well,
she said, well, yeah, I want to throw you down there under the bus on that. Okay, we could move on to some real, stuff we could all agree on.
Listen, I was about to say the oldest professions that's in the Bible.
Oh, Lord, we got to have some callers now.
I know.
Okay, so we're seeing the DMV under fire in the state of Louisiana. They took testimony from the DMV workers and the Louisiana Department of Motor Vehicles. And I think it's under the part of that runs the Louisiana State Police. I think there should be some separation of those what you call those entities that collect money as opposed to those criminal justice entities in the state of Louisiana. And that's the problem. The bureaucrats that are running the Louisiana DMV is the problem.
Absolutely.
All right. So back to child support. We know that the mothers can very well pay for have to pay the male for child support if indeed the child is living with their father.
That's correct. And I don't think I threw out my disclaimer. Let me throw out my
you
normal.
Sure didn't.
Any information obtained here today is strictly informational. No attorney-client privilege or relationship has formed. And of course, if y'all need to get in contact with me, my number is 337-534-4020. Once again, 337-534-4020. Now, so the child support would go to the parent that would have the child or where the child is domiciled. So that could be the mother or the father. There's a big misconception that child support is always paid to the mother. That's not the case.
In some cases, the father has proven that he's the better. He's the better caregiver than the mother.
Right. Absolutely. And what I've seen lately is the courts are moving away from the days where they thought it was only the mother that could take care of the kids. A lot of fathers that are now gaining custody of their kids.
Yes, which is real good. Which is one reason why you automatically always trying to state or say that you need to, if the fathers want to be involved with their children, let them be involved with their children. You don't have to always put them on papers. There are some that need to be on papers, and there are some that have stated over and over again that, I take care of my child. I do everything for my child, and she still went to and put me down on child support.
Yeah, and the thing about it is sometimes they'll mess themselves up trying to be vindictive and to put the other party on child support, because I've seen cases where they were getting more money before they put them on child support. And then once they put them on child support, of course, they weren't willing to give any extra money after that. So that's on one side. And on the other side of that, I mean, it's the person's right that has the child to go and seek child support through the state. But if you have the other party that's willing to pay without that and without the state getting that 5% fee, I don't understand, besides being vindictive, why you do that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, there are some things also we want to pay attention to into the news concerning the abortion issues. I just seen on the article on The Hill, that's a online publication dealing with legal and news sources. The new black Supreme Court Justice, Ms. Jackson, she just put out a solo dissent as the Supreme Court vacates the abortion ruling. The Supreme Court on Monday struck down a federal court ruling upholding the right for a minor to go to court to get permission to undergo abortion, with Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson penning a solo dissent in the case. Wow! I'm glad we have some people standing up for the the right way to do things. So
And so she was the only one that went
she was the only
against?
one. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're basically that conservative weighted court is doing whatever the hell they want to do. You know, not even looking at to me, not even basing it on the Constitution of a person's freedom to do what he pleased with their body. You know.
Now, let me ask you this, Attorney Dwyer. When prosecutors hide evidence, why is there no type of why do they get away with it? Because they have some special immunity or something? Why prosecutors can't have misconduct?
Well, that is prosecutorial misconduct, and what I was going to say is it's a big issue because we have a case that's called Brady versus Maryland, which states that the prosecutor has to turn over all evidence, inculpatory and exculpatory. So that's definitely an issue, and that's a violation if they are hiding evidence, especially evidence which would tend to prove that the defendant is not guilty.
Okay. But there's nothing that could do retroactive, like go back, because come to mind when I think about Harry Connick Sr. And everything like that. What he done? I mean, he just about opened up the book on how do you hide evidence, but yet there was nothing that was ever done against him.
The problem with some stuff is that it's not until years later that you actually find this stuff out. By that time, people are out of office. People have passed away. You have issues like that.
Yes.
But
We have
a problem. That's what's called a Brady violation. They're not supposed to do that.
Oh, okay, yes. We have a caller on, Attorney Dwyer. Caller, you have a question or a comment?
Yeah, I got a comment to what y'all just said about the laws.
Yes.
The thing that we keep misunderstanding, that the laws were created to go against the people from the corporation, particularly mainly black people. But what white people don't understand, their politicians are the ones that's incriminating them. And as long as they're not black people and considered at the bottom, they don't know until it start happening to them. And black people has always been examples of how this country feels about people that's not from their origins. But yet still, we still want to fight for their causes, thinking that politics help us. All the Supreme Court judges, even Ms. Jackson, is there to make us set a prop, to make us think things are changing. Every black candidate on the Supreme Court has been married to somebody white. So until we start seeing pure black people married to black people, and I'm not trying to be racist to this, we're not going to see no difference. Because number one, black people don't have to be married to white people to be considered normal and civilized. This is what they're creating, the fight that if you marry somebody white, these are the positions you can get. So keep talking about it because, number one, they don't care no more because the politicians are working for the corporation. That way they can rape society, black and white. And as long as we keep fighting one another, damn man, the white people, please wake up and realize your politicians are the ones selling your soul to get them benefits for them and their family. And that's black and white.
Okay, you heard the caller? Mm-hmm. Yes. And so when it comes down to being selected on a grand jury, it's a process that they go through, and that process is supposed to be fair from what you understand?
Correct. It's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. Can I add this to some legal cases that made news down here in Lafayette a couple of years ago, Khadijah? I know you was interested in this case because you spoke about it. You might not remember. A former Lafayette doctor convicted in the 1998 attempted murder for injecting his former mistress with HIV-tainted blood. He died. He passed away in prison. He'd been trying to get out on appeal. Do y'all remember that case? That was the first major case of the whole issue about infecting somebody with purposely with HIV, and it actually brought about several laws, local and national, about that. You remember that Dr. Richard Smith? That was his girlfriend, the nurse, and he wanted to get rid of her because she got pregnant, according to the article and what we talked about. I don't know if you remember that case. It set a precedent.
Yeah, and precedent meaning that was the first one of its kind?
Yeah, first one of its kind. Yes,
right. Okay.
Yeah, and also the person prosecuting the Ronald Green case, D.A. Belton, he's running for a state attorney general. That's kind of funny, you know.
Okay, call it. You have a question or comment? You're on.
Yes, I have a question.
You're on.
I want to talk about subpoenas this morning.
Yes, ma'am.
When you get a subpoena, like myself, if I get a subpoena, I have to go to the court. Why is it, I've been following the news, why a lot of these people want to get a lawyer and fight their subpoena not to go to court? Why is it two different standards for people?
What is the two different standards?
Or the higher up get the lawyers and stuff and fight it, and they don't have to go to court at all.
Right.
But the little people like myself, if I get a subpoena, the police gonna come here and get me.
Right.
So why is it that some get off and some don't?
Okay. All right. Well, I'll ask the attorney, Attorney Dwyer.
So, I mean, it's a lot there. So the way it's supposed to work is, you know, everybody complains, but then nobody wants to serve on a jury. So you're supposed to serve your time on the jury. I know that some people have different excuses as to why they can't serve. They're in school. They'll be out of town. This. You know, I don't know. I mean, they'll let some people off of jury duty, and other people they won't let off of jury duty. I mean, when you're picked for jury duty, I mean, it is your civic duty to actually be involved and to be engaged in the jury. So I would suggest that you don't get off of the jury.
I'm not talking about jury duty. I'm talking about subpoenas itself.
For witnesses, for being a witness for something, or a subpoena to...
yes, and some people fight not going to court above the subpoena.
Right.
And then some people, when you go up there and say, well, I can't go to court on that date or whatever, it's a lot of... They tell you where you got to come. But some people, like, follow the news, and like Donald Trump people, if they get a subpoena to testify on certain things, they get lawyers and they fight the subpoena.
Oh,
yeah.
Those kind.
Definitely.
Oh, I see. So it depends on what kind of case you're talking about. A lot of times, I know in criminal courts, you have, of course, if we have a trial that's going on, they will subpoena everybody that's involved, the victim or the witnesses. If the case like a domestic abuse battery, a lot of the times the witnesses are not going to show up, which are also the victims, because those things, they're a vicious cycle. A lot of times you'll have the women that are calling the police on the men, they get arrested, but then they want them to get out. So, of course, they're trying to get their charges dropped, and they're trying not to come to court for it.
And even in civil cases, you compelled if you are subpoenaed, right?
Right.
And under penalty of criminal prosecution if you don't show up, right? Yeah, and civil, it goes from civil to criminal in a minute.
Yeah, because it's a court order. Now, I think her question is more so why some people don't get in trouble versus other people.
I mean, or you could call in, but I thought it was understood.
A criminal case is the victim and they don't come, then the state doesn't.
No, 10:30. We just about.
I guess trying to hold them in contempt for that. What is that going to do? I don't know if the court will ever collect their fee for contempt. So I don't know. That's just what I see personally when I'm in court a lot. Some of the reasons why people don't come to court.
Yes, attorney. One of the things when we talked about prosecution in the state of Louisiana, how easily elections could change the person elected to office and the political influence of prosecutors in the state of Louisiana. I was saying earlier, that the attorney the prosecutor in North Louisiana from, I don't know that from your area, I think that's Monroe. He's running for state attorney general. Mr. Belton, the one who's prosecuting I think that's he's from the Monroe, Ouachita Parish area. I don't know exactly, but he's running for state attorney general, and he's prosecuting the Ronald Green case. Wouldn't that be a conflict at this time now to run for state attorney general and trying to prosecute a very high-profile case like the Ronald Green case? You know, I mean, I don't know if it's some ethical issues, you know, but I certainly would worry about him getting a conviction and people using the fact that he's running for state attorney general, you know, using that to hurt the case, you know.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, that definitely could be looked at as a conflict. But then at the same time, if he's running for that and it's a job in some kind of way,
yes,
he has to be over that. Of course, he needs to recuse himself.
Yes, yes. And because I'd seen he brought on one of the so-called top prosecutors, this person who get death penalty convictions from North Louisiana. He brought him on, you know. So I'm seeing it's turned more into a circus instead of the concentration on trying to get. I truly believe what happened to Ronald Green should be set the standard. That people who do wrong in government and law enforcement should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. But having all these side issues is taken away from the case of Mr. Green getting any justice, the family getting any justice. That's my opinion. You know?
Yeah, I agree.
So, Sister Khadijah, you got any more child support issues?
Well, I had one more where they're able to do go inside the mother and take DNA, which to me is very unnecessary. I mean, it's not like if he's paying
invasive, you would say.
Yeah. It's not like if he's paying child support until the baby get here. But caller, you're on. You have a question or a comment. You're on. Caller.
Hello.
Yes, you're on.
Yes, I have a question for the attorney. If you hired an attorney with a contract and you have a court date come up, should that attorney appear with you in court?
Yes, sir, because that's the whole reason that you hired the attorney is to, well, let me say that I'm assuming what you hired the attorney for, because I don't know what your contract says. So some contracts will specifically lay out exactly what the attorney is going to handle. So if that is in the contract and that's what y'all contracted for the attorney to handle, then yes.
You heard her, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So when he don't...
Yes. I hired an attorney for a criminal matter and a court date come up and the attorney declined to come in court with me. What I had to do is go into court by myself with a contract. I had a contract drawn up with an attorney, but the attorney said he wasn't coming in court with me.
Was the attorney supposed to go with you?
Was the attorney supposed
to? Yes, he said, yes, this was arraignment. It was arraignment.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So for arraignments, literally all they do is say, waive the reading of the formal indictment and enter a plea of not guilty. So, I mean, I can't speak to your situation because I don't have all of the facts, but maybe that's why the attorney didn't come. And maybe he just told you to just go in there and plead not guilty. And then he'll come when there's a pretrial or a trial and other things like that. So I'm not sure.
So you understood what she said?
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome. So that answered his question from what you stated, Attorney Dwyer.
Yeah, because I don't have enough information. Because again, you have some attorneys that they're hired for certain things, so they may go to certain court dates and other dates they may not, and they may talk with the client and tell the client, look, this is what you need to do, and then I'll be there for the rest. So I'm not sure.
Okay. Thank you, sir. And when you I was in court, and one of the ladies that was she was there, and one of the defendants that was in the court had stated that he was not guilty, and the lady, she was there, and she was saying that, you know, he didn't rape her. It was just a misunderstanding between the two of them. So why didn't they release him instead of still keeping him in jail?
You said the lady was in court and she said it was a misunderstanding. She was trying to get the case dismissed?
Right. She was trying to get it dismissed and everything. And of course, he's incarcerated. He's trying to get out of jail. And they refused to, even though they swore her in and everything, they refused to release him. And I know it's a blindside type of case and everything, but if you have the victim, not the alleged victim, if you have the victim that's saying that it was a misunderstanding, he didn't try to rape me, and he's saying he didn't try to rape, why would the district attorney not release him?
Well, that's strange, because if you don't have a victim in a case, then there's no case. So I'm not sure if there was some other stuff going on that I just weren't aware of. Maybe he had some other charges or something.
Okay.
But if that's a trial and the victim doesn't show up, or the victim is on the stand saying that didn't happen, there's no case.
There's no
victim.
case. Okay.
Sister Khadijah, I was reading this other article. I got a list of legal articles from the Advocate. Go check out the Advocate. It's mainstream media. It's not necessarily progressive, but it's mainstream. The list of in the case filed by Chief Thomas Glover said that Lafayette City Police is 78% white and 22% black officers. Okay. Wow, that is a big difference. I like to think there are more black folks in the city of Lafayette and Lafayette area.
Okay, you have a caller. Caller.
All right.
You're on.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Can you have the attorney to explain what is plea bargaining? Thank you.
Okay. You heard him, Attorney Dwyer?
I didn't understand the last part.
He asked you to explain what is a plea bargain.
A plea bargain. Okay. So plea bargaining is nothing more than the situation where you have your attorney, which is a defense attorney, and the prosecutor. Y'all are just trying to work out a plea. So that could be maybe the defendant is pleading to something that's lesser and included, or pleading to a totally different charge. So if it starts out maybe as like a felony, you might plead to a misdemeanor. So that's all that is. Just trying to work a plea out instead of going to trial.
Okay. Trying to work a plea out instead of going to trial and everything. Okay, caller. Yeah. Thank you.
Sometimes, depending on the evidence that they have, or what's called the discovery, which is what you get from the prosecutors, which is the evidence that they have. You know, sometimes looking at the evidence, you might want to try to take a plea because the evidence might be against you. Okay. So instead of being in jail for 5 years, maybe something like that, try to mitigate some of the damages.
Okay, all right. We have another caller. Caller, you have a question or comment?
I got a comment to that plea bargaining. Whenever the state wants to make a plea, which you immediately have no evidence, and what they're trying to do is make you dehumanize yourself by accepting what they say you've done. Never take a plea, because if they're giving you a plea bargain, they don't have enough evidence to prosecute. They've done it to so many black people till it doesn't make sense. And I understand a lawyer can't go all the way right, but I was in the system, and they try to get me to take plea bargains that I know I didn't do, but yet still they make you think they're trying to help you with a plea bargain. Whenever these white folks, all black folks who are in charge, try to give you a plea, they have no evidence, black folks. Wake up. Plea deal is not a good deal. Fight for your rights.
Okay.
Yes.
Attorney
so
Dwyer?
I disagree with what he said. Sometimes there is evidence, and there's a lot of evidence against some people. So just because they're offering you a plea does not necessarily mean that they don't have any evidence against you. Sometimes that may be the case, but sometimes it's not.
Okay, and you get the opportunity. Well, they get the opportunity to see what the evidence is, or it's not.
Say that again.
I say, so they get the opportunity to see what the evidence is when the defense.
So what happens is when a case is billed, the defense attorney files what's called a motion for discovery, and then what the prosecutor is going to do, because I'm looking at some emails right now, and one of my prosecutors is sending me some discovery. So they're going to send you the discovery or the evidence that they have in their file against your client. So you then take that discovery, give it to your client, discuss it with your client, and see what your client wants to do. So it's not a situation where they're just saying, hey, you need to take this plea, and they're not showing you any of the evidence or anything like that.
All right. Yes, we have another question. Go ahead, ma'am. You're on.
This is Ms. Frida. I'm calling in because I just was wondering, like when somebody is charged with a crime and they have to go to court, when they get to court, they'll be in a courtroom, for so long until that case comes up. And when the case come up, they just give them a different day to come to court. So why do they give a person so many different dates to go to court?
So a lot of times what happens is they're not ready to do anything with the case. Like you might have, let's say the very first court date is going to be an arraignment. Before that, they'll have what's called a 72-hour hearing if it's somebody that's in prison to set a bond. So at the arraignment, like I was telling the young man earlier, all you're doing is saying that you waive the reading of the indictment. So the indictment is telling you what the charges are against you. A lot of the times, your attorney already has that. They've already gone over that with you. So you don't need the judge to sit there and read that to you. We already know what the charges are. So that's a waste of time. We waive that and enter a plea of not guilty. And then the next court date is usually what's called a pretrial. During the pretrial, what you're doing is you're trying to see if you can work something out. In the meantime, your attorney usually has filed a motion for discovery to get your discovery, or if you're in prison, maybe a motion for bond reduction or a preliminary examination. It just depends on what's going on in the case and what the attorney feels needs to be filed. Sometimes when you go for these pretrial conferences, they're not ready to do anything with the case. Or in my situation, what was that last year where we had turnover with the DA's office, we were waiting to see who the new prosecutor was going to be. So we had some stuff that was out of our control where we had to keep resetting the court dates because nobody was ready to proceed with the case. So I understand exactly what she's talking about. But what we try to do in the track that I'm in, we try to get our cases resolved where we're not constantly resetting. We're trying to get the stuff resolved. But you have some where that's not the case, where there are a lot of resets. But in some situations, there's different reasons as to why the cases keep getting reset. They might be missing some discovery, or they might need to get some other information before they're ready to proceed with the case.
Okay, caller, you're on. You have a question or comment for Attorney Duan?
Yes, I'd like for her to explain to me about probation. Because I see a lot of, when I go to court, I see a lot of young men take probation, and with the probation come a fee with that. So I'd like for her to explain to me a little bit more about probation. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. So what happens sometimes is when some people take a plea deal, instead of going to prison, they'll take what's called a probated sentence. So in other words, instead of going to prison, they'll be on probation, where they have to check in with a probation officer, whatever the time frame is. It might be maybe once a month, and then they have to pay a fee to probation for that. And while they're on probation, there are certain things that they're not supposed to be doing. You're not supposed to be engaging in other criminal activity. Depending on what the charge was, you're not supposed to have a gun. Like, it's different stuff that you're not supposed to do. And what happens sometimes is, despite being told all of that, because when the judge is going over everything, they read all of this to them, ask them, do they understand? And of course, they stand in court and they say, yeah, I understand. But then some of them still leave court and commit other crimes. And then they'll be facing what's called a revocation, which is where they're trying to revoke the probation and then send them to prison because they didn't uphold their end of the bargain. They didn't do what they were supposed to do on probation.
Wow, that's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So, what if a defendant finds itself I'm gonna ask this question: dissatisfied with the overall performance of his attorney? What is the process that? No reflections on yourself, my sister. What is the process that a defendant have to go through to change attorneys, and especially when it's a court-appointed attorney? Does that person has to just accept that attorney at this case? Will the judge get angry about that? What from your experience? Tell me the background on that.
So one of my former clients that I just got through with not too long ago called asking me about a similar situation for his sister. So what happens is, if you have a court-appointed attorney, that's the attorney that's appointed to you. You don't get to cherry pick and to choose somebody else and say, oh, I want Attorney Smith, or I want this one, I want that one. The cases are allotted to various attorneys, so those are the cases that they handle. Now, you do have the right to choose your own attorney. So if you can afford a private attorney and you don't want the attorney that's been appointed to you, you can always go and get you a private attorney, because that's your right to have the counsel of your choice. So that's how you go about doing that.
So they have to accept the court-appointed attorney, even if I vehemently disagree with the way they're handling my case.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Because if that's the case, you're going to have a whole lot of people that are trying to shift over to these other attorneys.
Okay.
I already have a large caseload.
Okay.
I have a contract with the public defender's office here. I know I have probably about almost 200 cases.
Wow.
And I'm just a contract attorney. Now, the ones that are full-time, I'm not sure what their caseload is. But looking at the caseload, if you have people that are trying to cherry pick and trying to come over to your pile, there could be double.
Okay.
So, I mean, it doesn't work like that. Like, we just don't have the manpower for that. And one of the biggest problems with the system, correct, is the funding, and it is the turnover. Because I know a lot of the clients will say, well, you my fourth, fifth attorney.
Well, Sister Khadijah, if I wanted to be an attorney, I want to be a trial injury attorney. I mean, they get to stand on top of big trucks and, advertise and hang out with the football players, NFL, they making the money. So I guess maybe that's where all the lawyers went. I'm so glad we have Attorney Smith still with us until she get on top of a big pickup truck.
When you have attorneys that do different things as well, because I handle personal injury as well.
Yes.
But you just have some attorneys that when they start out their career, they might start out with family law or and just decide that that's not for them and they want to go and do something else. And that's their choice.
Okay.
I think we have a caller.
Yes, caller, you're on. Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Look at Brother Jay. You asked about how the attorney works, in dismissing attorney. The only way you could dismiss a court-appointed attorney, you have to say that you got a conflict of interest with it, and you got to have a good conflict of interest. That's the only way you could get rid of the attorney that the court appointed to you to represent you.
And this is the thing that we've got to understand, how the law works. And the law works in mysterious ways. Because Sister Khadijah always bring up child support. I went before a child support enforcement agency. And I had to go to court that morning. And she told me once the judge called my name, I could leave. Yes, I did leave because I was hungry and I went home and ate. I came back. The only thing I did wrong, I came back before time. I should have came back on time. And I would have busted them in their little charade what they was trying to do. I thank you guys, and good morning, Attorney Dwight.
Good morning, Mr. Wallace. Yeah,
Thank
he
you.
makes a good point about there being a conflict. So, myself and there are several others that are contract attorneys. That's the purpose of our contract is there are conflicts with the public defender's office, and then they have to contract them out to contract attorneys. So those are the cases that we get.
Wow. Sister Khadijah, you have some.
Well, part of your legal proceedings when it comes down to your case is called a transcript. Now, do you have to pay for the transcript, or can the transcript be given to you automatically?
So you're talking about for criminal cases, for civil cases?
Yes, yes.
Well, let me just say generally. So generally, you're supposed to pay for the transcript because what happens is you have a court reporter that has to type up the transcript. And, of course, you have to pay them, for typing it up and for doing their service.
Yes. Because I'm looking at one right now, a complete transcript, and it's in my hand, and it's United States of America plaintiff versus Louis Alco defendant. And that was in 2016. But, I mean, it put word for word. I mean, it writes up.
And that's what I was going to say. And for those that don't understand what a transcript is, you're just hearing this word. What we're talking about is, it's like she said, word for word, what was said in court. So if you have a trial, the transcript is going to be, everything is going to be the opening statements, objections, questioning of the witnesses, cross-examination, closing arguments, all of that is on the transcript.
Right, and when I say, I mean, word for word, I'm looking into. I mean, I'm on page 811, and it stated one of the questions were, what were you doing that was on the wrong side? And the answer, we were, as little explanation as possible. We were violating department policy, state law, and federal law. And then the question, well, how? Answer, by excessive force. And then the question, what were you doing? Then the answer, people were getting, and they have like little blank blanks, they were getting punched, kicked, beat, probably false arrests if you boil it down to that, and that's the pieces of it. So it goes word for word.
Right.
Which is good.
Yeah, because that's what you want, because you want the transcript to reflect what actually happened in court. Because a lot of times you'll use the transcripts for other motions, or if you have to take the case up to the Third Circuit or whatever circuit you're in, you'll need that transcript.
Okay, and when you mention the Third Circuit, that's only after you have either been found guilty of a charge and you don't agree with you being found guilty, and so you bring it up for an appeal, which is the Third Circuit Court of Appeal.
Right. So they have two different ways that you can go up. Here is the Third Circuit. In Louisiana, we have 5 circuits, but we're in the Third Circuit, and the Third Circuit is located in Lake Charles. So there's two different ways that you can go to the Third Circuit. You can take what's called a writ, and a writ is for what's called an interlocutory judgment, which is a judgment that's not final. So let's say if the judge made a decision in a case, but the case is not over, but you just don't agree with that decision, you can take a writ because you want the Third Circuit to look at that and to tell the court here, the 15 JDC or whatever court you're in, you know, that they're wrong. That's what you would want. Now, if the case is over and you've had a trial and you have what's called a final judgment because the case is over, then you would take what's called an appeal, and that's a different process.
Okay. All right. All right.
You're listening to KIEE 88.3 FM, your superstation for South Louisiana. We have on the line Ask a Lawyer segment on the Open Line Radio Show on this great Wednesday morning. Attorney Dewar Smith. She's giving out the 411 and in the know and everything else in between, Sister Khadija.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And so, in closing, Attorney Dewar, what would you like to tell the listening audience in closing?
Well, as usual, always call in with your questions and let us know the topics that y'all are interested in knowing about. And other than that, I will see y'all next week. In the meantime, if y'all need to get in contact with me, my number is 337-534-4020. Once again, 337-534-4020.
All right. Thank you so much, and try to have another beautiful day.
And another big old dish of crayfish or crawfish, as some call it, on
Absolutely. I love it. I love it.
Social media.
Yes.
I might make me a commercial with crawfish.
I'm so jealous of her.
Wait, Attorney Dewar, we have one more caller. Let me see. Caller, you have a question or comment? You're on.
Hello, good morning. Good morning. How are you?
All right.
This is Amanda.
Oh, well, hold up a second, Amanda. Let us hang up, and I'm going to give you the number to call in. Okay. All right.
Okay. All right.
Oh, all right. Okay, Attorney Dewar.
Okay, y'all have a good week.
Great. And I'm going to
play something.
I'm New Iberia City Councilman and local business owner, Marlo Lewis. Parents, it all starts at home. Enough is enough.
I'm Lieutenant Cassie Dion with the New Iberia Police Department. It takes a village, and it's time our community comes together.
I'm here to lend my voice to the community program to stop the gun violence.
No more silence. Stop gun violence.
No more silence. Stop gun violence.
No more silence. Stop gun violence.
We are interactive and live. Call us at area code 337-534-0036. That's 337-534-0036. On the Open Line Radio Show on KIEE 88.3 FM, your superstation for South Louisiana.
We want to remind you that the Open Line Radio Show is powered by Finders Keepers, 1006 Surrey Street, Lafayette.
You are now listening to South Louisiana's #1 radio talk show, the Open Line Radio Show on your superstation, KIEE 88.3, your community source.
Precious dream.
agree.
All right, we are back with the open line. And we have on the line Miss Amanda Perro. Miss Amanda, go ahead and tell us a little something about your organization.
Yes, ma'am. Hi, how are you doing?
Okay.
I actually also have Miss Marie on the phone, and I would actually like for her to start off with an open prayer. Miss Marie?
Great morning, Sister Khadijah.
Good morning.
Marie Williams here.
Look, yeah. There's some kid background in the background. But okay.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry about that.
We got babies in the house today on the Open Line Radio Show.
And we just got
we haven't heard that in a long time.
Right,
Babies.
We just got through doing child support. Okay. All right. You're on.
All right. Okay. Father God, we just thank you for this day. We thank you for this coming together and sweet conversation. Let the words we speak right now be words from your words as written in the Bible. Let it be sweet, 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 spreading all over the areas that can hear us right now. Let everything we do today be positive and an inspiration to all among us, that we meet those who we do not know and will meet hopefully in the future, Lord God. We ask you to bless those who are a blessing to others right now. We go forward in the spirit of love and respect, peace and joy, Lord God. We ask you these things in your name, the mighty name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Amen. That was wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Miss Marie. Yes. Yes. My name is Amanda, and I am the assistant chapter lead for FLIC. It's FFLIC, Family and Friends of Louisiana's Incarcerated Children. Now, we are also getting together with different organizations, like Miss Connie Walton. Miss Connie Walton Lewis, she has an organization called From Boys to Men, mentorship groups, and also Yes, I'm That Mama. Then we have other organizations like in New Iberia. Miss Connie Lewis, that's Lake Charles. New Iberia, we are affiliated with Mr. Felton Hogan and Mr. Donovan Davis. They have the buyback program, the gun buyback program out there. Then we are also affiliated with Miss Marie. Miss Marie Williams, who is on the phone right now, and her husband, Eric Williams. They have the program organization called
Guns
Down, Power Up. So what we are trying to do is we are people trying to get together, and we are all have one mission and one goal, is to see the better of our children. What can we do that the government is not doing for our kids? Because at the end of the day, it takes a village to raise a child. Unity belongs in the community. And, some way, somehow we have been failed. And, our children, they're getting to more gun violence. And, that is one of the leading top homicides right now in teens is guns. Louisiana is number 4 on the gun violence under the United States of America. 4 southern states are under the top 10 of gun violence. Mississippi, Arkansas, Alabama, and Louisiana. So we need to realize as people, what's more important, the gun or our children? Because I understand that guns don't kill people, people kill people, but they're getting into the hands of children, and that's where it makes it dangerous. So what I try to do and what I promote is, I'm trying to talk to different people who are in charge of gun laws, and I'm not trying to make it to where nobody can have a gun. No, that's not my perspective. But the people who are responsible enough Meaning, if you are responsible enough to go pay $400 to take a driver's ed class, and you have to take a couple of hours to do so, to get your driver's license, then what is wrong? Why can't a 21-year-old pay that $400 or $500 if they're responsible enough and go sit and take that 20, 30-hour class? You know, if you have to be certified to be a forklift operator, then you should have to be certified to go and buy a gun. Because right now, our community is suffering from the fact that a 21-year-old can go and buy 5, 6 guns, hand it out to 16, 17-year-olds for them to go and do dirty work, and then bring him back the merchandise. You know, so if I can make it harder for people that are not responsible enough to sit there and take the class to go and purchase a firearm, period, then you know what? That would help. That would help eliminate a lot of these children from getting killed. So at the end of the day, we all have one thing and one mission, and that is children. Hello?
Yes, caller.
Yes, ma'am.
No, this is, okay, let me put you on. Hold on.
I think we have a caller.
I think he must be calling for something else. Caller, what you wanted to find out? You're on. Hello? He wanted to find out something about the Evangeline Thruway. I don't think nobody mentioned that.
No.
Evangeline Thruway. Okay. Miss Amanda?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yes, and she gave out some interesting statistics about gun violence. Matter of fact, Louisiana keeps running a race with Mississippi and a lot of the negative statistics that's going out. And they got a lot of people who probably don't believe those statistics. And I would tell them to do their own research and find out that Louisiana consistently is at the top of the negative statistic. And I appreciate you bringing those statistics out because, you know, we talk about them almost every Wednesday when we get a chance to do the show.
Okay, we have a caller. Caller, you have a question or a comment?
Comment.
You're on.
Yes, ma'am. A lot of these guns, I know for a fact, is coming off the streets. You know, a lot of these guns are being stolen. These are people that breaking in people's house, home invasion, and breaking in people's cars. A lot of guns. Wish nobody should be leaving a gun in a car, don't get me wrong. But a lot of these guns are being coming off the street. They're not really buying these guns themselves. They get them off the street, they're stealing them. So what do we do about things like that?
Okay. He said that a lot of these guns are guns that people
some of them are, and he is not lying. It is true. Some of them are being stolen, which a class would be in place to where you could be able to properly learn how to lock your guns up to where that wouldn't happen. But a lot of, listen, I have teenage children and I also have family members. And I've seen this in my own family where I had a 21-year-old who gave a 16-year-old in my family a gun. Found the gun. I was going to report it. The 21-year-old came to my house and said, look, this is my gun. I have the papers on it. I have the box. Showed the serial number, showed the papers and everything. So this proves that a 21-year-old, these 21-year-olds are, that's what they're doing. They are buying guns registered under their names. They go and they give their 16, 17-year-old friends the guns to go do dirty work in the streets, and then they'll report the gun stolen.
And Miss Amanda, it has a lot to do with culture, too. It has a lot to do with culture and what some of the young people in the youth are accepting. Isn't guns now more of an extension of some people's cultural personalities? Because, you know, you have all of this in the hip-hop industry now. You have a lot of you could name hundreds and hundreds of rappers over the last couple of years that have gotten killed by guns. And people don't want to take this into account about the culture of some of our young people.
This is the thing, okay? This is the thing, okay? I blame it on, like I said, it takes a village to raise a family. It takes a village to raise a child. So therefore, the village is owned by who? The community. The community is owned by who? The government. So therefore, what, you know, when I was a child, it was so hard to be able to purchase a CD that has explicit things on it. Nowadays, a child can go on the internet and they can hear, I'm going to shoot you this, I'm going to shoot you that, I'm going to kill you this, I'm going to kill you that, throughout the whole song. But when I was younger, they didn't have all that. It was not that easy to get to the internet. You know, this is the children are a product of their environment. You know, they go through a stage called theta, Theta. It's something where from the age of 13 years old, all they do is soak everything in like a sponge. So from the age of 13 to 18, they're being weaned off of their mama because all that time they were being soaked like a sponge under whoever was taking care of them. So as a teenager, it's a very critical state for teens. You know, so that's why, you know, these children are getting into trouble and they're getting tried as adults as a child. You know, they are a product of their environment. So, you know, maybe the government or maybe the internet should, you know, solicit things, which I know it's not going to happen, but people need to realize that it needs to happen. It really does.
Can I chime in on this topic? This is Eric Williams from Guns Down, Power Up.
Yes, sir.
I have spoke to several law enforcement people, that's chiefs and police officers, and I have spoke to some of my brothers who are on the force. I'm not going to say their names. A lot of them have shared with me that some of our Caucasian or white brothers and sisters would purposely leave their guns in their vehicles with hopes that one of our black young men would grab their gun. Not that they trying to put their gun away safe, but they know our children gonna break in that vehicle, gonna get that gun, and they acting like, oh, they stole my gun, when purposely that's the whole purpose. Because now we're being self-destructive to each other. We're destroying each other.
Brother Williams, I have a question for you, man. I know you've been involved from day one with a lot of these things. I want to ask you a question. You know, I think you're more in the know on things like that. How are these dangerous weapons, let's say the long rifles or the multi-clip rifles, even some of the guns that they could make off plans off of Amazon, how are they getting into the communities in South Louisiana, in a small area compared to Miami or L.A. or New York? How are these guns getting down the pipeline in the state of Louisiana, from your opinion?
In my opinion, in most cases, we do have not all cops are good. Not all cops are good cops.
Right.
You know, I say it all the time that all cops are bad, but not all of them are good. The same way with these drugs that's getting into our community. They taking them off the streets and they're putting it right back into our community. So some law enforcers are not all doing the right thing.
And I can honestly say that because I knew somebody who was involved in the Army. And they told me a story of how they had this kid who was in the Army and he was selling AR.
Wow.
You know, so like, yeah. You know, and you know, that's what's going on, you know, like if we can do better gun control, you know, and I look at it like this, you know, if you have to go to the Army to learn how to operate a gun, then why don't these 21-year-olds that right when they turn 21, they want to go purchase guns? Why can't they do the same thing? Take a class that costs us $400.
And you don't mind me jumping in on this thing. My thing is this: even if you take the class to know about how to use a gun, the issue with the culture of using a gun for every dispute you have out there on the streets is the problem. You know, that's the problem. You know,
right? It might be the culture, but if we can eliminate 10, 21-year-olds from going buy 4 or 5 guns and hand it to their little friends to go do, you know, work, then guess what? That's a good job.
Yes.
That is a wonderful job. If we can eliminate 6 21-year-olds, make it not eliminate them, but make it harder for them. If they want to go buy a gun, then guess what? Go pay the money, go take the class, then you can go and you can purchase the gun, like how everybody does to drive a vehicle.
My sister, you still got the aspect of some people will purposely leave their guns in their vehicles in the open where our people can see them, knowing they're going to break in the vehicle and get the gun. You got some people that purposely go buy a lot of guns. They go into our neighborhoods and leave their vehicles.
We got a little feedback on this in the background. I know the baby is getting a little irritated. I feel you on that, but I think it's bleeding over into our broadcast.
Right. Well, I know once we can try to eliminate as many guns as on the streets,
yes, ma'am,
from getting it so popular, to be able to purchase it so easy, then we can work on, hey, if they take the class and they buy a gun, but you have to take the class to buy a gun. If they take the class and buy a gun and they leave their gun unattended after they take that class in their vehicle, then guess who should be responsible for that? Mm-hmm. The person who took that class that was supposed to operate that gun.
They stole it. That's what they gonna say. They stole it.
Yeah, and I know the city of Abbeville has some issues. Been having some recent issues that making news, and they had to institute a curfew. In your opinion, and I know it's turning into another discussion, but in your opinion, y'all think a curfew is some way to solve that problem? It's just a temporary Band-Aid.
It's a way to solve the problem, but the parents have to police up their children. They have to keep the conversation going. Hey, look, this is the time you're supposed to be in the house. You go to school or you got to be to work the next day. You need to be home. You don't need to be out in the streets. We love to have those thought-provoking, critical thinking conversations. This is Marie Williams of Guns Down, Power Up.
Yes.
All right. Do you
Sister Khadija, you want a baby? she loves babies.
I mean, a lot of the youngsters that's having these ample time are. Do you think that maybe if there was a well-paying job that we can offer them, starting off at about $12 an hour, 8 hours a day, 5 to 7 days a week, that if there was a way to offer a job instead of just being on the street,
yes,
are there any?
Right.
Yes, ma'am. That would be helpful. On-the-job training.
Oh,
yes. More programs.
More job fairs. And Guns Down Power Up is working on things to help educate, help the youth, help young adults, help the parents even.
Yes.
Come on, let's get it done. There's classes at SSC here in Opelousas to get your GED, to go to school. It's being offered. But is the information out there? Do our young adults, do our youth research this stuff? No, we have to literally bring it to their attention. And that's why we fight so hard every day to bring something new to them, such as the game of chess, so they can think critically, so they don't just drop ahead with their thinking, oh, I made the wrong decision, now I'm locked up. What do I do next? Will mom and dad save me? Will grandma save me? No. It's time for you to be responsible. Enough is enough.
And I must share this. Guns are not the problem. First of all, we're not anti-gun. We're anti-violence. We have teamed up with people that do concealed carry classes that can teach you how to properly use your firearm and teach you gun safety. So we're not anti-gun. We strongly believe in the Second Amendment. We just anti-violence. I just
yeah, we had a caller. We lost that caller.
Right. And that, that's the thing. Like I'm not anti-gun either. Because I know that is a right. But I just want to try to figure out a way to make it harder for these kids to get these guns. Because there's too many guns right now in the street. Especially in Louisiana, we're number 4. So, really and truly, people need to sit down and think, okay, guns don't kill people, people kill people. But when these guns are getting into the hands of children,
okay,
that's when it's catastrophic.
We have a caller. Caller, you're on.
Yes.
Yeah, I was listening to your conversation, and everybody talking that's right. They're talking about different solutions. But I mean, a lot of the young, I'm talking from a black man point of view, and a lot of youngsters, the violence that you see out here is because of the resentment they have towards their fathers. And a lot of the fathers can't be there because some of them locked up, some of them dead,
yes.
Some of them, they're there, but they're not there. And, it's time for, I ain't got nothing against black ladies, but it's time for y'all black women to step aside and let us do the job, and let the black man step up and do his job as being a father. I allowed my wife to nurture my kids when they was younger, but as they got older, and I stepped in.
Okay.
She had to step aside because I can only raise my son and my daughter, because I mean, if you look at it right now, you got a lot of single mothers, and they doing the best they can. I understand, but
right,
time to let the black man step in. And there are a lot of black men that want to step in, but cannot because some people don't allow them to, to be that father and take care of their kids, because of child support, that first thing they worry about is child support. Nobody worry about the kids. All they worry about is child support.
Okay.
And that's not really taking care of the kids.
All right. Thank you, caller. Caller, you have a question or a comment? You're on.
I have a comment. As a mother of 2 sons from Abbeville, I'm going to say it like this. I have 2 sons and I work a full-time job. But in Abbeville, we have a lot of children walking around with guns and just walking around doing all kinds of things they have no business. And my sons are teenagers, and I stay on their neck for everything. Their dads, they're in their lives, but as them staying in my house, that's where they stay. But Abbeville do not have nothing for kids to do. They took all the sports out of Abbeville, and they don't have no kind of recreation. Now, for the summer, when the summer come up, they have nothing for kids to do. So what they expect anybody to do when they have nothing, and the parents still got to work for the summer. So we just got to keep our children in the house or they on games. If they not, they sneaking out the house going to do what? They don't have nothing to do. So they're getting into all kinds of crazy stuff. And I can admit, yeah, it's a big thing with the fathers not being in the household, but they don't give these kids nothing to do around the city of Abbeville at all. My children been playing sports since 3 years old. We haven't played in Abbeville. We have to go outside of Abbeville. Thank God I have a vehicle to get them there. Thank God I have a job to work around my schedule. But other than that, a lot of children, they got so much talent in Abbeville. A lot of children don't have the means to go to Delcom and ERAP and Lafayette and Youngsville.
Yes.
So
shy babies.
What would they expect people to do? And then you're already living on budget.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Before you call it, you're on.
Yeah, I was listening to the lady. She says she works a full-time job. I understand she has to make a living, but a lot of times if we could start a program where we can get a lot of these men to get these young guys and just take them fishing. My father took me fishing.
Right.
To keep me on the street. Plus, we had a little time to talk and communicate, and it's done a good thing for me. And it didn't cost us nothing.
Right.
I mean, $5-10. Hey.
Go fishing.
And we went fishing all day.
That's
my uncles, and I didn't worry about having a gun or worry about anything that I was with some men I respected.
Well,
and it's no excuse.
Okay, thank you. The lines are full. I'm trying to get the lines out and call, and then we're gonna go ahead and discuss it right before we. It's time for us to get out of here. Caller, you have a question or comment? You're on.
Okay, no, and this is the same person from Abbeville. I agree with what the man just said, but I am a mother that take my children fishing and crabbing also on weekends.
Lower your radio.
We're
getting background.
Don't have that.
Okay. Yes,
okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
It's certainly a passionate subject. We gonna try to do more of these shows to let the general
Our children
public
are passionate.
I really appreciate
Yes.
what you guys are talking about.
And another thing, I mean, the gentleman, there was a gentleman who talked about, and he didn't say it really negatively about the ladies need to go on the side and let the men raise the children, but
well, let me tell you something. I am a mother of 10.
Question that I would ask him: where are the men? Where
Right,
where
right.
are they at?
Right, because I am a mother of 10. I have 8 boys, 2 girls. And let me tell you something, it was a rough road for me. That's why my passion is these children.
Well, we have a lot of men that I know that doing things for our children. The thing about it is sometimes it's not consistent enough.
Right.
We start stuff and then we stop.
And it's a system problem. It's a system.
Yes, it's a consistency problem. That was my problem.
We have to be consistent when we start stuff. That's why I thank God for Guns Down Power Up. And I'm not trying to toot our own horn, but I designed this program to be consistent in our area, where we can do something at least once a month or more or often as we can, but we always doing something in our community. And I see that it's needed in more areas. And if you're out there listening, go check our page out, Guns Down Power Up, and reach out to us, and maybe we can set up something to do in your area as well.
Okay.
Right.
We have another caller. Caller, you have a question or a comment?
So the topic really is about the amount of guns out on the street. Well, just yesterday, Blake Miguez announced his run for Senate of District 22, which goes from Jeanerette to St. Martinville. He doesn't necessarily have to win that race. There are plenty of voters that don't really want to vote for a far-right Trump candidate who is going to push for constitutional carry so that there are many more guns on the street. What that will do is put more guns on the street. The rest of the show today has been about the justice system and the injustice of the justice system. So when you have callers that say, hey, everybody should take their children fishing, well, what happens there is you take the child fishing. If you don't have a fishing license, you get arrested. And then you just get in this loop with this injustice system where you have to pay endless amounts of money, have to go to court endless time, you're on probation, you never get out of the system.
It's hard to hear you,
and then
man.
you can't make enough money because there are no jobs to pay all these things into the system.
Much like everything in the state of Louisiana.
It's a never-ending cycle of slavery is what it is.
Yeah, state taxes arrears. State taxes arrears, DMV arrears. Louisiana push you behind the 8 ball so easily.
And we need to come up with a candidate that will go to the state legislature, because there's only 39 state senators that will represent the people and not push this constitutional carry and continue this injustice and this slavery. That's my comment.
Wow, he said.
Okay, caller, you have a question or comment? You're on.
Yeah, I'm the person that called about that fishing, and she's talking about if you don't have a fishing license. But see, when my dad brought me fishing, he made me responsible to get a fishing license.
Okay.
And having a fishing license helped me to show my kids that they needed to be responsible to get a fishing license.
There you go. That's like what I'm saying about the gun license.
About Louisiana, you got to have fishing license. At one time, you didn't, because so say we the
Yes, sir.
You need
Yes, sir.
this, you need that. And it's all about the paper. No, it's time for them to get with these legislators and say, hey, look, if we're going to be the land of paradise, people should have the right to go fishing.
Actually, I think...
It ain't their goddamn water.
Yeah.
It's safe.
Yes, caller.
So, I mean, you know, but when you come down to everybody trying to get a buck, you ain't never going to have a solution to trying to get things done.
There you go.
Right. Everybody looking for a goddamn dollar.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And if they quit looking for the dollar and start looking for something that's real and helping people, that I mean, today, you know, a lot of people don't even try to pay it forward. Yes, you doing good. You so say blessed. You ain't blessed till you can bless someone.
Yes.
You know?
Okay. Well. Okay, thank you
Thank you
so much. We are narrowing down the call so we could give our guests the closing comment. Caller, you're the last caller. Go ahead and say what you have to say.
Yes. Guys, I want to say this to us all. We remember marijuana.
Coach, you're going to have to...
and what they did with marijuana.
Yes.
Marijuana now has become legal, and they are putting it through Southern University, agriculture departments, and all throughout the state and probably states. And now they're making finances off of it. Or like some young kids like to say, they're making fiancés off of the marijuana, and it's been legalized in an area where they can financially benefit. So that said, it sounds like the same thing is happening at the DMV. What does not bring them the fiancés or the finances, they ride it out, play the game, and then they change the rules until it's bringing it in. Like you said earlier, they're bringing in a lot of money per year on this, and they charging us the kind of money, Brother Jay, you said earlier, that we could pay automobile car notes or pay automobile insurance on these little knick-knack times.
Coach, we wrapping it up.
Don't forget to teach our children the concrete things that they need in their life. Y'all, we are the pillars of these children, and if the pillars don't talk, the children won't know. Let's make sure that we set our kids on a course that will take them through this place and make sure that nobody can hoodwink them or fool them or make them fall for the oak and the dokie, the okie dokie.
Okay,
guys, let's teach them about the Lord. That's very important.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, so we can't accept any more calls. We're going to have Miss Amanda.
We have
Miss
come
Maria,
back,
Miss
you know,
Maria,
and give them more time, you know.
Right. Well, we have to wrap it up for Brother Herbert. Miss Amanda?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. This was awesome. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys.
Well, that's a response. You see, this is your subject matter. It's a response to community. So we want to allow you to come back and have more time to get the total feedback from the community.
Yes, and like the gentleman was saying just a minute ago on the phone, about teaching our children. Yes, I'm 100% on that. But it's hard whenever, like for me, I'm a mother. I have kids, I have older children, teenagers, and babies. I have 10, so as a mother in the community, my children stay at school the majority of the time. They're only home with me for a couple of hours, and then they're sleeping at night. So, the school system needs to do, curriculums for, morals, respect. Willow Charter has a curriculum just for morals and respect. But the public schools, if our children are in public schools, the majority of the time, the system needs to try to figure out better ways for our children, to map things out better for our children's future. The gun violence and the violence and, the school systems and, we just need to get it better. We all need to get together and get it together.
Thank you for your work. Thank you for your work.
Yes, and Miss Maria and your husband?
Yeah. Well, Guns Down, Power Up, that's what we're about. We want to teach our children how to discover their purpose, their value, and their worth. And we strongly teach them about respect and love, how to have respect for themselves, how to have respect for life, how to have respect for authority. And a lot of these children don't have a clue about what they want to do. But when they come into our program, they leave with an idea of what they want to do with their life.
And I love how Mr. Eric said our children.
And the thing about it is they want to play sports.
Number for Guns Power Up?
And that's
what's the telephone number, Mr. Eric?
337-401-2545.
337-351-6463. Follow us on Facebook. Guns Down, Power Up.
And also, I would like to say that they have other organizations out there, you know, that are affiliated with Guns Down, Power Up. Mentorship programs for young teenage boys and girls, you know. Chad Landry and Jennifer Landry, they have one out of Lafayette called Speaking to Inspire Through Experience.
Yes.
You know, so they speak to inspire through experience, you know, and they are a 4-week program where they get your team, they do things with your team, they do incentives with them at the end of the week if their team is doing good. You know, so there's programs out there, organizations out there that are coming together as one for one mission, our children.
And the city of New Iberia has just started an initiative dealing with Stop the Gun Violence. And I want to give a shout out to Councilman Marlon Lewis and Dee Dee Reed for having those initiatives, and the groups out of New Iberia, Apostle Hogan.
Yes, Mr. Donovan Davis and Felton Hogan. Yes, we work with them. They are awesome.
Yes. Well, we want to thank you guys. We got to log off right now and get ready for the next wonderful show at 88.3 FM.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bless you.
Thank you. We definitely need a database of helping men.
Yes.
Men that really want to help out. We need a database on that.
Yes.
Right. Yes.
Thank you.